This is a story from a very old time, when a kind and merciful king, Raymon, ruled over a peaceful city. He never did injustice to anyone, and he never allowed others to do it either. In his kingdom, there was peace and justice everywhere. People were honest, happy, and always prayed for their king. The King Raymon not only loved humans but also cared deeply for animals. One day, during the rainy season, he went out with his ministers and companions for an outing near the forest. Tents were set up, food and drinks were prepared, and the whole place filled with joy and celebration. During this time, the king noticed a monkey sitting quietly on a big tree. The monkey was just watching everything silently. He neither misbehaved nor tried to steal anything. The king, amused, ordered that food should be arranged for the monkey as well. But the monkey didn't even look at the food. Instead, he wrote something on a wooden tablet and handed it to the king. It said that whatever arrangements were made for the king, the same should be made for him too. The king was surprised, but he smiled and agreed. When the monkey saw that a royal meal had been prepared for him too, he came down politely, washed his hands, ate with grace, and returned to his place. Rain started to fall again, so the King Raymon ordered that a blanket be sent to the monkey. But the monkey once again put forward his condition. He wanted a royal tent, just like the king's. The king laughed and accepted his wish. The monkey entered the tent with great dignity and rested there. When the king prepared to return to the palace, the monkey demanded a royal ride too. The king agreed again, and the monkey rode along with him back to the palace. People were astonished to see a monkey sitting beside the king on a royal horse. At the palace, a separate servant's house was assigned for the monkey. But he again made a demand. He wanted a palace just like the king's. The King Raymon finally gave him another palace that was meant for the summer season. Now, the monkey started attending court. He listened to every case carefully, and whenever there was a mistake, he would write the correct suggestion on paper and place it before the king. Soon, the king realized that the monkey's advice brought great benefit to the kingdom. He began to include the monkey in important decisions. However, the Queen Sophia didn't like this at all. She saw the monkey as a threat. She complained to the king many times, but the king trusted the monkey and did not leave his side. At last, the Queen Sophia made a terrible plan. She tried to poison Monkey, but the monkey found out about her plan in time, and he saved his life. The King Raymon had a daughter, a beautiful princess named Hurin. When she heard the story of the wise monkey, she became curious to see him. One day, while walking in the palace garden, she saw the monkey. The moment their eyes met, the monkey stared deeply at her. The Princess Hurin was frightened and ran away. After that day, whenever the Princess Hurin dressed up and looked into her mirror, she saw the monkey's face in it. She didn't know how the monkey entered her room, but he always seemed to appear somehow. Terrified, the princess fell ill. For several days, the monkey didn't come. But as soon as the princess got a little better, the monkey returned. One day, he handed her a small paper note. On it was written, "I want to marry you. Believe me, I am also very handsome." The princess knew that this was a polite and well-mannered monkey. He never harmed anyone. Slowly, her fear disappeared. She began to feel sympathy for him. She thought, if God has given him the form of a monkey, what is his fault? Now the princess no longer feared him. The monkey stayed in her room for a little while, looked at her quietly, and left. Soon, the Queen Sophia came to know about this. She was furious and started shouting at the king. The king called his daughter and asked her the truth. The Princess Hurin told him everything honestly. The king was shocked, yet calm, but now he decided to take the matter seriously. The next day, the King Raymon went to the monkey's palace. The monkey was walking in the garden. The king, angry but composed, said that he could not see his daughter in distress anymore. The monkey went inside, brought a pen and paper, and wrote. The monkey said, "You are the king. Whatever I ask from you, you will give me. Promise me that." The king replied, "I promise. I want to marry the Princess Hurin, and I promise to keep her happy." The king was stunned and refused. But the monkey said, "You are a king, and you have made a promise to me. A true king never breaks his word, and if you do, I will tell everyone. Then no one will ever trust a king again." The king spent the whole night in great worry. In the morning, he went to his daughter and told her everything. Seeing her father's helplessness, the princess wept and said, "If this is my destiny, I will accept it." The king agreed with a heavy heart. When the queen heard about it, she screamed and cried, even threatened to end her life. But the king locked her in her room on the day of the wedding. And the Princess Hurin was married to the monkey. After the wedding, the Princess Hurin went to live in the monkey's palace. The next morning, when she returned to visit her parents, she looked happy. Everyone was surprised. The queen hugged her daughter and cried, but the princess smiled softly and said, "Mother, don't worry, I am happy." Now, every day the princess stayed with her parents during the daytime and returned to the monkey's palace in the evening. Her face glowed with peace and contentment. The king was satisfied, but the queen still doubted something. One night, the queen, Sophia, secretly went to the monkey's palace to find out the truth. Luckily, the door was open. She crept inside and heard laughter and soft conversation from the princess's room. When she peeked through the window, she was shocked. Inside sat a handsome young prince, not a monkey. In the corner of the room lay the monkey's skin. The queen realized that if she burned that skin, the prince would remain human forever. She quickly took the skin, returned to the palace, and burned it. At that very moment, in the monkey's palace, the prince cried out in pain and vanished. When the Princess Hurin ran to her palace, she saw the burnt skin and understood everything. She fell to her knees and wept bitterly. She said to her mother, "You have destroyed my home and my happiness." The Queen Sophia felt deep regret, but it was too late. The King Raymon sent soldiers to search for the prince, but no one could find him. The Princess Hurin fell into sadness and silence. She stopped eating and speaking, only sat quietly, lost in thought. A few days later, she quietly left the palace and went into the forest in search of her husband. One night, she sat under a tree and overheard two parrots, a male and a female partridge, talking. The male said, "There's a prince in a faraway city who is very sick. His body is covered with sores, and no medicine is working." The female asked, "Is there any cure?" The male replied, "Yes, only if someone applies a paste of chamomile and sandalwood for 40 days. He will be healed." The princess heard everything. In the morning, she collected chamomile from the forest, covered her face with a veil, and began walking toward the east. After a long journey, she reached a city filled with sorrow. She learned that the prince of that land was near death. She bought the necessary herbs and went straight to the palace. She told the guards that she was a wandering healer from the mountains and could cure the prince. When the king heard this, he was surprised but hopeful, so he called her in. He had lost faith in great physicians, but this young girl's courage touched his heart. She promised, "If the prince is not cured in 40 days, you may punish me as a thief." The king agreed and gave her a room next to the prince's chamber. The girl, who was actually the princess, went to see the prince. Her heart filled with pain seeing his weak body. She prepared the paste of sandalwood and chamomile and gently applied it to his wounds, whispering prayers to God. That very night, The prince felt peace for the first time in months and slept soundly. The king was filled with gratitude and ordered that the healer be given everything she needed. The princess gave up her own rest and sleep. Day and night, she cared for the prince with love and patience. Soon, he began to open his eyes. After 40 days, the prince was completely cured. The healer asked for Prince's handkerchief, applied the paste one last time, and quietly left the palace without a word. Celebrations began in the kingdom, but the mysterious girl had vanished. The king said, "She must have been an angel sent by God." Sometime later, the prince fully recovered. He remembered his beloved princess, his wife. One day, he left for a hunting trip, but his true purpose was to reach the princess's land. When he arrived at her father's palace with his royal army, he was received with great honor. The old king didn't recognize him because now he was no longer a monkey but a handsome man. The prince revealed himself and said, "I am the same monkey who married your daughter." The old king was stunned but overjoyed. He remembered his daughter's sorrow and quickly took the prince inside. There sat the princess silent and pale. When she saw him, she couldn't believe her eyes. The prince told her the whole story, how he had fallen ill, and how a healer girl had saved him. The princess showed him the handkerchief. The prince gasped. It was the same handkerchief he had given her. He realized the healer was none other than his own wife. Joy filled the room. The Princess Hurin explained that her mother had only wished to free him forever, not to harm him. If only he had told the truth earlier, she would have protected his skin herself. The prince sighed sadly. He said, "I never got the chance to explain. It all happened too soon." Then he shared his own story. He was the only son of a mighty king. His life was full of hunting and luxury. One day, while hunting, he shot an arrow at a beautiful deer, but it disappeared. He followed it deep into the forest and lost his way. There he found an old man and a wounded boy. The boy's leg was bleeding. The old man looked at him with anger and cursed, and suddenly, the prince turned into a monkey. The old man's curse had taken effect. The prince begged for forgiveness, and the wounded boy pleaded for him too. The old man softened and said, "You will remain a monkey for 1 year. If within that time, a kind-hearted girl marries you out of mercy, you will return to your true form, but only before your wife." The prince wandered through the forests, until one day, the princess's father found him and brought him to the palace. The rest, the Princess Hurin already knew. While he was speaking, the princess's parents entered the room. The queen asked for forgiveness, and the king announced with pride that since he had no son, the prince would now be his heir. But the prince bowed respectfully and said, "First, I must return to my own kingdom with my wife. My parents are waiting for me." The king agreed and gave his daughter a grand farewell. And so, the prince and princess returned home, where both families lived happily ever after, in love, peace, and joy. If you enjoy this story, please like video and subscribe channel and press bell icon.